We're going to open up some Q&A. I see some folks have already placed a few things in the Q&A thing. I know, Brad, you've been looking at it, like
Yep.
shooting it. Where, yeah.
I've got a good flow of these questions. So in order of topic, proximity. Let's start with what criteria do you use to determine what vendors to initially bring in?
Great question. Man, I'm going to start by saying product assortment. Do they offer products that fulfill categories I already sell, or are they filling a gap or a niche that doesn't exist on my menu? So knowing, is this something that is going to be a value add to the menu, or very likely kick out another vendor or replace another vendor's products? So then understanding, what does cost look like? What price does this product command? What margins can we gain on that product? Is it sustainable? How do they sort of format marketing and promotions to co-market, do promotional opportunities together, versus just a vendor in a silo sort of eating every gross margin dollar that's discounted? And for me, a lot of my personal time is spent trying to understand, what is the consumer looking for? Is this a brand that the consumers aren't searching for? Is this something that has a positive reputation in the market? Yeah. I mean, I could go on for way too long about that one question, so I'm going to stop myself there.
How long does it take you to evaluate a brand on that criteria? I mean, is that stuff that you're able to just sort of intuit pretty quickly in a conversation, or are you doing a lot of research to get those answers?
Yes, no, both of the. No, I think part of it's intuition, and it just comes with time. And honestly, working with brands and vendors that are very transparent about their products and about the pain points that their products do experience in some stores, in certain geographical locations, with certain socioeconomic average statuses of the type of customers that are coming to the store. In Massachusetts, we have a store in West Springfield and a store in Rowley in the North Shore of Massachusetts, and same state, but very different competitive landscapes, very different type of products that customers are looking for, different price points work, different, lots of just differences, even though they're both within the same state.
Yeah, we've seen in some of our past data with the marketers platform major differences within neighborhoods. You know what I mean? Like some of these stores that just are separated by only a few streets, but in California, you can have a wild difference in just a short amount of space. So, so this is a little bit of a follow-up on that, sort of tangential. In your opinion, how many SKUs should be on a menu? I know you mentioned something earlier from like going from 400 to 800 is an alarm bell, but I'm sure this is probably subjective by size. But is there an amount that makes the inventory and purchasing process unmanageable? Like what's that like range, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, to me, above 400 to 500 just becomes unmanageable. It's just way too much assortment, and most customers don't need that many choices to find something they're interested in. And then what happens is you just have a bunch of products, all with low run rates. You're working with a lot of vendors to get a lot of products that nothing is moving all that well. So that's, I'd say, the magic number in my head is above 400 or 500 is just going to be impossible.
Yeah, I will say one thing we see in the data also to that point, and just to the point of like how pervasive these issues are with like how hard it is to do this job. As stores get more volume and get larger, what we notice is their products don't sell faster individually. Their menus just get bigger. And so essentially like you have all of these really low run rate products. And it's because it's hard, like we were talking about, it's hard to know the true run rate, and it's easy to make these like bigger bets if you sell more on these new brands or, a new product line or something like that, that just might not move. And then you're like stuck with 6 months of inventory of like an all-in-one vape.
Yeah.
And like one thing with that is this industry shifts so quickly that the cost you buy a product today and the price you have to price it at for a goal margin, which for most, I'd say keystoning is very common industry. So taking the cost and doubling it for your price a month from now, that may not be a competitive price point anymore.
Yeah.
So if you overbought it, you are literally going to lose money on it, or lose margin dollars, and potentially, in the worst case scenario, actually lose money on it if you really can't move it. So being able to stay small and nimble, and pivot is imperative to success.
Yeah.
We are actually building up towards diving into that topic in our content, which takes a little bit of setup because understanding the cost and like how that varies and like what you are supposed to cost things at, how you budget. It's like a tesseract. It's like so multidimensional and infinitely zoomable, like a fractal, right? So it seems that you can create a pivot table for like every single tiny little thing, no matter how far you continue to drill down to try to figure that out. And feel like that's like a pretty big nut to try to crack if we can. So something we're going to be talking about a lot